Welcome to Web Handling. My name is Dave Roysam. I am super excited to return to Dave's Defects to sort out a most confusing collection of wound roll defects, buckles, and stars. I know your time is precious, so let's get started. What connects this widely varying collection of wound roll defects are two things. First, the buckles, or wrinkles if you like, are oriented in the CD. Second, the buckles result because of MD compressive buckling in the inside of the roll at the latter part of winding. Now, the most important point. Just as I've taught 1,000 times, a wrinkle is not a wrinkle is not a wrinkle. The same is true of this collection of defects. While all wrinkles are a lack of flatness, there are about 20 common subtypes, or root causes if you like. The same is true of buckles and stars. Yes, all of these wound roll defects have wrinkles oriented in the CD. Yet, there are about 6 common subtypes, or root causes if you like. Each has totally different mechanics, and more importantly, each has totally different solutions, which we will get to in a moment. Many people want to know why, such as why would layers want to buckle? The good news is that we absolutely know why, and this is taught in just the right amount of detail in my award-winning and trademark Web 101 class, as it is in the chapter in my new book, as well as in many other publications, so we don't need to do that here. Suffice it to say that for certain material and certain roll properties, MD compression is all but guaranteed by the laws of physics, no matter what the winding make and model is, and no matter what the TNT curve setups are. This is true even when the web and winding world are otherwise perfect. If we add other insults, not only is compression guaranteed, compressive failure or buckling is guaranteed. I want to add just one last note. That is, the physics guarantees that the buckling will be worse at or just above the core and to some distance from the core, but never to the very outside of the roll. Radially dependent defects are almost always mean that winding is involved. Let us begin by paying attention to the visuals. If the buckle can be seen from the edge of the roll, as it sometimes might, it may show as a wavy pattern, or it may show as spokes, or both. Worry not about the appearance for now. They are pretty much the same mechanics. Much more important is to observe certain patterns that can narrow down the root cause. First, are the patterns radially symmetrical, such as a snowflake is? If not, the cause may be handling. Second, is one side of the roll different than the other? Or, if you peel down the layers, is the defect uniform across the width? If the two ends are different, or the defect is not uniform across the width, then a major contributor, if not the root cause, is web thickness profile coming from upstream. Now on to the half dozen or so subcases, or root causes if you like. The first, poor roll structure, is actually quite rare with modern winders that have well-engineered curves that are ably used. The second is collapse over unsupported layers, of which there are 3 subcases. The third is caliper, gauge, or density or thickness profile variation across the width. The fourth is rough handling during transportation. Finally, is air buckles. Each of these subcases is covered in great detail in my advanced Web 101 winding course, so we don't need to do much of that beyond this here. I would like to spend just an extra minute or so on air buckles, because that defect differs from all the others in several ways. First, it is by far the best modeled and best understood of the buckling defects. Second, the defect is time dependent, a very unusual trait in both web handling and winding. In any case, the appearance is somewhat unique as shown in the picture of the roll and the schematic at the end of the roll. Still, to be sure, we list tests to make sure that we have the correct subcase, in which case air is entrained during winding and air escapes out the end with time. As is common, the tests and the remedies are mostly one and the same. In other words, if speed makes the problem worse, the litmus test for air entrainment, then reducing speed is one remedy. There are more pleasant remedies that are discussed in my Web 101 course, so we don't need to do that here. For those interested in more detail, there are two reference books that most any troubleshooter should have. The first, the Ultimate Roll and Web Defect Troubleshooting Guide, is an encyclopedia of some 500 defects. The second is the must-have 750-page Web Handling Handbook. While some enjoy learning by reading, there are much faster and much more efficient ways to learn about the must-know topics of web and winding defects. There is simply no better, no faster way than my award-winning and trademarked Web 101 class that has been taken by 5,000 students just like you. The time invested in formal training will save you much time, and you much trouble, and you much money in your plant and with your customers. Thank you so very much for joining me in this defect solving and defect preventing series. If you have a defect you would like to hear about, let me know in the comments section below. If you found anything interesting or useful here, please like and share and subscribe. See you next time.